Well, once again, everybody, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to New York. Welcome to Lions Day at the United Nations. Welcome to our 39th annual Lions Day with the United Nations. As you just saw at that video, lions in the United Nations, that's not quite correct. We need another video yet.
To San Francisco came 1,400 representatives from 46 nations.
In 1945, Lions leaders were among representatives who met to help establish the non-governmental organization section of the United Nations. And they threw their full support behind the new organization, calling upon clubs to support it as well. Lions Clubs International underscored its commitment to a certain and lasting peace for the world in 1946, when International President Pierce delivered greetings to the Paris Peace Conference, which officially marked the end of World War II.
When they left, I said, there goes our Lions International statesman working for world peace.
The first Secretary General of the United Nations, Trygve Lie, thanked Lions for their good wishes for the successful outcome for the whole work of the United Nations. In 1947, the United Nations granted Lions consultative status with the UN Economic and Social Council. In 1988, Lions created the International Peace Poster Contest. Mustafa Tawukji, who grew up in war-torn Beirut, Lebanon, was the first contest winner. Since 1988, millions of children worldwide have participated. The International Grand Prize winner is honored at Lions Day with the United Nations.
That's really helped me to develop a more worldly view.
Since 2011, students who are blind and visually impaired have also had a chance to express their thoughts on peace through the Lions International Essay Contest.
For me, peace feels like freedom from ignorance or conflicts such as war.
Lions and the United Nations continue to work together to improve lives and further peace around the world. Lions support the UN Millennium Development Goals and the Sustainable Development Goals to combat poverty, hunger, disease, environmental crises, and more. As citizens of the world, Lions respond to one need, one community, one life at a time. In the years, decades, and centuries ahead, Lions will continue to unite in friendship and serve as community and world leaders to sow seeds of peace at home and around the world.
Peace.
Shanti.
Good morning again. Lions, Leos, and friends, welcome to our 39th annual Lions Day with the United Nations. As you just saw from the video, Lions and the United Nations have had a long and rich history of working together to improve lives around the world. For more than 7 decades, we have shared a bond of international service, helping people from all walks of life in just about every corner of the world. And for nearly 4 decades, we have celebrated this strong partnership in holding this annual event here at the United Nations headquarters. For the first time, we are being webcast on UN TV around the world, live. Wave hello. Wave hello to Mom and Dad watching at home. We are very excited to be in the General Assembly Hall this year for the first time. Often when you think of the United Nations headquarters, this room comes to mind, where annually the heads of state of every country come and speak at this podium. And today, you, the other world leaders, and our international president are here. We have a unique and exciting program for you today, and we are excited to get started. During the unique and exciting program for you today, we ask you during the event to be sure to tweet Facebook using hashtag LDUN. Today we have with us more than 800 attendees, including Lions, Leos, UN ambassadors, and other guests from 36 countries. Leos, you're in a special section. Please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Please be seated. There are over 150 of them here today, and they have some special assignments. It's not just attending Lions Day at the UN, but they have some special assignments that they're going to participate in so we can learn what they learned here today. Leos, thank you for being here today. Whether you took the subway, walked a few blocks, or rode trains, planes, and automobiles to get here, we thank you for joining us. I myself was hoping that International President Corlew and his wife Diane would be riding the Lions Centennial bus here, but we don't see it parked outside today, unfortunately.
You don't see my bus?
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Natalie, where's...
I see my bus. My bus is right here in front of me.
Well, please stay here, Mr. President. Don't
There's
go anywhere.
my bus. You see my bus, Al?
Please stay here. Don't go down the bus. We need you. In 1945, Lions Club International founder Melvin Jones went to Washington, D.C. to participate in the preliminary planning of the United Nations and to assist in the drafting of the UN Charter. That April, at the United Nations Conference in San Francisco, the UN granted consultative status with their Economic and Social Council in Lions International. Today, I am very proud to serve as the Lions representative to that council, as well as the United Nations Department of Public Information. For those of you who don't know me, I am past International President Al Brandel. My wife, Lion Maureen, and I are proud New Yorkers. We live not far from here in Melville, Long Island, New York, and we're more prouder to be Lions from Lions Clubs International. But enough about me. There are several others here today who I have the privilege to introduce to you. First, I am honored to introduce you Lions International President Chancellor Bob Corlew and his wife Diane from Tennessee. From Japan, we have immediate past International President and LCIF Chairperson Dr. Jitsuhiro Yamada and his wife Toshiko. Joining us from India, please welcome first International Vice President Dr. Naresh Agarwal and his wife Navita. Here from Iceland, welcome second International Vice President Gunda Jungvedóttir and her husband, past International Director John Thorfiston. Please welcome our third Vice President Jung-Jul Choi and his wife Sung Bak Yang from the Republic of Korea. I am also pleased to welcome two of my associates. Let's welcome past International President Professor Dr. Giuseppe Grimaldi from Italy. and past international president Barry Palmer from Australia. Welcome members of Lions International Board of Directors and their spouses, Melvin and Virginia Bray from New Jersey. G.S. Hora from India. Robert and Michelle Libin from New York. Helmut Marhauer from Germany. Joyce and Martin Middleton from Massachusetts. Vijay Kumar Raju from India. And Jennifer and Jeffrey Warr from Michigan. We also have joining us today our board appointee, Keith Lawrence, and his wife, Andrea, from Tennessee. We also have with us two members of our Lions Club International Foundation Board of Trustees and their spouses, past International Director Fabio and Anita Delamita from Brazil. Past International Director Robert and Kathy Littlefield from Florida. We are fortunate to have several past international directors who are with us today. I ask those past directors to stand and be recognized. A sincere thank you to the rest of you who are here today as district governors, past district governors, club presidents, Lions, Leos, speakers, guests, or as I like to call them, potential Lions. We are all here today because we want to make a difference in the world, starting in our own communities, and I am proud to be part of such a powerful group, Lions Clubs International. And now I am extremely honored to officially introduce the gentleman sitting next to me. He didn't get on the bus, he's still here. The son of educators, he was raised on a cattle farm just outside Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Always a quick study. He learned to drive when he was only 7 years old. Wow, you'd be in trouble in New York, Mr. President. 7 years old and was selling gasoline at the age of 8. He started his lifetime of service and citizenship as a Boy Scout and then an Eagle Scout. At the age of 15, he lived for a year in Washington, D.C., serving as a Senate page. A man of many talents, he worked as a radio broadcaster in high school and college before heading off to law school at St. Mary's University in Texas. He then served in the U.S. Army at Fort Knox before returning home to Tennessee to practice law. It was about this time a friend invited him to dinner, a dinner that would end up being a Lions Club dinner. 2 weeks later, he found himself the secretary of his Lions Club. Served as a Lion, he became even more focused on helping his community, and then he soon ran for city council. He was followed by becoming one of Tennessee's youngest judges and chancellors, a unique position found only in 3 states for judges who have jurisdiction over equity cases. He is truly a giver with so much to share. He became a law professor in Nashville, Tennessee Law School, where he was loved and admired by his students, and he chartered several Lions Clubs, including his own, the Murfreesboro Noon Lions Club, and a club of Lions attorneys called the Murfreesboro Downtown Barristers Lions Club. His grandchildren call him Grandbob. I like to call him President Bob. Please welcome our association's 100th International President, Chancellor Bob Corlew.
Thank you so very kindly for your very warm welcome, and thank you, past International President Al Brandell. Good morning, everyone. I want to start today. Excuse me. I want to start today by thanking all of you for taking part in this 39th annual Lions Day with the United Nations. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to say that this is the largest attendance we have ever had at a UN Day, and this is the very first time we've been here in this General Assembly Hall. Fellow Lions, as I was considering today what I might say to you, I thought of several things. I'm a history buff, and I thought this would be a great time to talk about the history of this annual event. But as much as I do like history, I saw no reason to be here today to give you a history lesson. I thought I could speak to you about the relationship and the partnership between Lions and the Special Olympics, the relationship that Lions universally holds near and dear, and one that continues to grow and benefit not only Special Olympics, but also the Lions themselves. But no, I thought I would wait and let us hear later from our keynote speaker, Dr. Timothy Shriver, who will share that experience with us. I thought perhaps I could talk to you a little bit about the UN Sustainable Development Goals, but we'll be addressing two of those in some considerable detail today with our speakers and panel discussions. Instead, I wanted to focus with you today on the theme for this year's Lions Day at the United Nations: health and inclusion. These are topics that pertain to the UN Sustainable Development Goals and to Lions. In education, the word inclusion doesn't simply mean the placement of students with disabilities in general education classes. This process must incorporate fundamental change in the way a school community supports and addresses the individual needs of each child. As such, effective models of inclusion and inclusive education not only benefit students with disabilities, but also create an environment in which every student, including those who do not have disabilities, has the opportunity to flourish. One of the most important principles of inclusive education is that no two learners are alike. And so inclusive schools place great importance on creating opportunities for students to learn and to be assessed in a variety of ways. Inclusive schools provide academic support and create a supportive environment for all learners. Inclusive education for students with disabilities can only be successful when those students feel that they are truly a part of the school community. This requires open and honest discussion about differences and an institutional respect for people of all backgrounds and of all abilities. In inclusive schools, the establishment of such a climate benefits everyone by fostering an environment where students and their families are valued for who they are. Lions have underscored throughout our nearly 100 years history the importance of equal access to proper education, to proper health care, and to equal access to life. But more than that, we've taken action throughout our programs and our service activities to open the doors to equal access for all persons. Today, in addition to the remarks by Dr. Timothy Shriver of Special Olympics, we'll take part in compelling panel discussion about the plight of refugees. Who are they? Who are they? Where do they come from? Where are they settling? Perhaps most importantly, what are their needs? And how do we as Lions address those needs? How can Lions assist with providing refugees access to at least basic human needs and equal access to medical services? Now, I want you to look around this room. please go ahead. Take a good look around. And if you're like me, when you first walked in this room, you were awed by the walls, by the ceiling, by this beautiful room. But now I want you to take a look, not at the room itself, but at the people who are here in this room. The lions, the Leos, the guests, or potential lions, if you will. I like that, Al. Everyone who is here today. You'll notice that no two people in the room look the same. No two people have the same physical or intellectual capabilities. We don't all share the same cultural background. We don't share the same political views. And in fact, many of us may speak different languages. And yet, that does not prevent us from being inclusive. In fact, we embrace our differences. It's what makes us strong. It's what gives us the perspective needed to respond to global needs and to understand that it may take more than one solution to solve a particular problem or address a particular need. We as Lions are bound together by the principle we serve. And we as Lions are together as a group because we have one common purpose, and that is to make our world a better place for us all. This year as Lions, we are climbing new mountains because our presidential theme this year is, in fact, new mountains to climb. And for us, those new mountains each represent new opportunities for us as Lions to serve more people and to meet more needs. Last year on one of my Centennial bus trips, I visited the South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind. While I was there, I was fortunate to be able to participate in the chartering of a Leo Club. And that Leo Club was composed entirely of students with visual and hearing impairments. That club is thriving today as they are continuing to climb those new mountains, and they are continuing to make a difference in their community. We have many Special Olympics Lions clubs around the world today that are contributing to the needs of their communities. We have Lions confined to wheelchairs. We have a homeless woman in California who started a soup kitchen to feed other homeless people. And today, she, of course, remains a Lion. It doesn't take this, or this, or this, or any other particular physical capability to serve the needs of others. It takes just one thing, and that's this. It's the heart. It's the heart and the compassion for others. It's the desire to be a part of something bigger than yourself. As each of us today sit here before this body, each of us has the heart of a lion beating inside of us. And I congratulate each of you for the service that you do. There's an old proverb. It says, it takes many flowers to form a bouquet. The same can be said of a Lions Club. It takes many different people, many different capabilities, and people with many different perspectives to make a good Lions Club. Excuse me. Today, panelists and speakers will discuss with you the benefits of being inclusive. You'll hear about the plight of refugees, the need for equal access to health care for all. I urge you not only to listen, but to learn from these discussions. Then take the message back home with you to your Lions Club to your district and to your multiple district. Lions, Leos, and prospective Lions, thank you all for being here today. I know you will find this Lions Day at the UN to be a rewarding experience. Now, if you will, let's take a look at a helpful video which was created by the United Nations about the Sustainable Membership Goals. In fact, there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals. We focused on one or two of these last year, and we will again focus on 2 of these this year. Let me ask you just a moment, if you will, as you're seated, take a look at the seat where you are and take a look at the country where the ambassador from that nation generally sits in this General Assembly Hall. That will help you to have the feeling and the perspective of inclusion as we all sit here together in this fabulous GA Hall, and as we together as Lions celebrate inclusion and we together work toward that goal. Let me please introduce to you at this time the Director of the Outreach Division of the Department of Communications and Public Information, Mr. Mahar Nassar.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Brandel. Thank you, Mr. Carlo. And welcome to the United Nations. The country seats that your president mentioned are not actually listed because we have now this electronic signs today, and they change every year. So every year, instead of always organized, they're all organized alphabetically, but instead of always having Afghanistan first and Zimbabwe last, there's a draw, a lottery every year, and the country that sits here at first changes. So the order is always different. So you could be sitting instead in the place of every single ambassador because they have been rotating for the last 71 years. And I was very excited to hear that this is actually the first time you meet in this room. Congratulations, because this is one of the most auspicious halls we have at the United Nations. This is where the General Assembly, this is where leaders meet in September every year, from where presidents, heads of state, kings, queens have spoken from this podium. And a few years ago, we had Pope Francis in 2015 as well. So this, we call it the We the People's Hall, because the Charter of the United Nations starts with the words, we the peoples. And I understand that you come from 36 countries, so the Lions, you also represent not just the Lions in America, but all over the world. So welcome again to the United Nations. And those 17 goals that the film that you saw that was prepared by my Department of Public Information, we have just received those yesterday. These are the 17 goals on small little cards with the icons and what the goal each is. And we have put them outside. I think they're available in the 6 official languages of the United Nations. If you have not picked up one, please do pick one to remind you of what those goals are. Those goals were approved unanimously by the leaders of all countries in this very hall in September of 2015. They are a bit of a promise. You saw the lofty, some people might say we have been so ambitious that the year 2030 we will be able to do all of that, and I think we have to insist that we can and we should and we will. Because unless we set ourselves ambitious goals, we can always settle for mediocrity or the middle of the road. Humans would never have made it to the moon or to space if they thought that that is impossible, we cannot do it. Ending poverty, ending hunger should not be impossible goals. They are within reach, and I think we need to do all that we can to do them. Governments have committed to that, but governments cannot do that alone or just with their own resources. Private sector, civil society, academic community, young people, LEOs, all of us, the United Nations organizations, of course, have to work hand in hand with all of you to achieve those goals. I understand that, of course, your meeting today will be focusing on health and inclusion. Inclusion, and I take it you also refers to one element is, of course, people with disabilities. The United Nations 10 years ago, 2006, adopted for the first time the International Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities, who, by some calculations and statistics, are actually considered the largest minority in the world. There is no reason why people with certain disadvantages should be excluded from the workplace or from having equal right to education and access to what we all enjoy and take for granted. So I think it's very important that you are focusing on that, because that is the business of civil society as well. Inclusion also talks about refugees and migrants. In September of last year, there was a summit on refugees and migrants, because we have noted last year the largest number of displaced people the world has ever seen since the Second World War. 65.3 million people are currently out of their normal home, village, town, neighborhood. 21.3 million of those are refugees. And watching the news, usually you would think that most of these refugees are in Europe. In fact, the 10 largest refugee hosting countries are not in Europe. These are Turkey, Pakistan, Lebanon, Iran, Jordan, Ethiopia, Kenya, Chad, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. These are the largest hosting countries for refugees. And refugees are among the most disadvantaged. They are people who have been forced to leave their homes, their villages, their towns, because of either conflict, persecution, or natural disasters that has destroyed it, and they have taken the refuge in another country. And the main goal of any refugee is actually to go back to their home. That's what they want to do. And I think we owe it to refugees and as an international community to help them in that process. The United Nations works through the UN High Commissioner for Refugees to provide aid, support, and assistance, not only to refugees, but also to displaced people who have been displaced within their own countries. I said of the 65.3 million, 21.3 are refugees. The others are no less lucky. They have also been forced out of their home, but they are displaced within their own country. Like if you took Syria, for example, 12 million people have been displaced in Syria. 4 million of them became refugees, i.e. they crossed an international border and went to another country. The rest, they escaped their town, village, home, and they became refugees within Syria. Globally, the United Nations, of course, this is the headquarters, this is where leaders meet, this is where important decisions are made, this is where the normative part of work, the conventions, the agreement, what becomes later international law, is agreed and approved. This is where the Security Council that is tasked with keeping the peace, creating UN peacekeeping missions, is based. But the UN is much more than this building and complex. The UN is active and present in all countries, providing food aid and assistance to 80 million people in 80 countries every year, supporting and assisting and protecting the 65 million displaced people, providing vaccinations to 45% of the world's children, as UNICEF and WHO work with countries to do that, saving 3 million lives a year, assisting maternal health and pregnant women avoid complications, saving 1 million lives a month, mobilizing $22 billion in humanitarian assistance and aid that go to the humanitarian crisis affecting more than 300 million people a year, keeping the peace through 117,000 UN peacekeepers, police, and civilians in 16 peacekeeping missions in 4 continents. This is some of what the UN does around the world every minute of the year. And I think this organization that was created 71 years ago in San Francisco, and I think you Lions can be proud that the Lions were present at the founding of the United Nations, representing the civil society and NGOs. And over the last 71 years, the cooperation and collaboration between the two organizations have continued, because many of the partners of the UN in the field delivering the assistance and the examples that I have mentioned have been the civil society, NGOs, and Lions. And I think working hand in hand together, we need to ensure that we don't leave anybody behind. That's one of the slogans that we attach to the Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 goals, address, of course, poverty, hunger, education, health, gender equality, climate change, inequalities, industrializations, consumption, production, sustainable production, life over land, life underwater, and, of course, peace, justice, and strong institutions that are needed to be able to do that, and in partnership together. We talk about diversity and the beauty of diversity, and I think humanity's diversity, and I think what you alluded to is an excellent example of we all look different, but we're all the same. And we have to respect and treasure our diversity, because that's where the strength of the human spirit comes from. But we should also look beyond humanity. Yesterday, 3rd of March, was World Wildlife Day. And it was so sad for me to know that in the last 40 years, 50% of world wildlife was lost. Wildlife existence, more than 50% of wildlife disappeared in the last 40 years. That's almost the same time as you have been meeting at the United Nations. I understand you've been meeting at the United Nations for 39 years, but by deforestation, encroaching on habitat, overfishing, not looking after the world that is actually home to us, I think we have to note that we need to do more to protect the environment, to protect to ensure the sustainability of our existence. Some may say that these are political issues beyond the reach of the lions. I think they are survival issues. They're not about politics, they're about survival. Because we need the diversity of the environment to be able to survive. We need to respect the planetary boundaries of what we can consume to ensure that the Leos have enough or have the same resources and life potential that we have had. So I thank you again for coming to meet at the United Nations and for your continued cooperation and work on humanitarian issues, for inclusion, for health, for the partnership to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. And I hope in 2030, when you look back and look and saying, you saw those clips in the film showing where we were, where we are now, and where we aim to be. Looking at that trajectory, I think we can do it. To think that in 1990, more than 40% of the world lived on less than $1 a day, extreme poverty. Today, it's less than 12%. It's 12% too many. So if we manage to bring that down from 40 plus to 12, I think we can deal with the rest 12%. So thank you again, and have a great day at the United Nations.
Mr. Nasser, thank you for that warm welcome. Please accept this plaque in appreciation for joining us this morning. The plaque being presented by President Korolev is the International Peace Poster Contest winner from last year, from a 12-year-old girl from China, Yumo Zhu. Later today, the President will assist this year's grand prize winner in revealing her poster for the very first time. I now welcome to this podium past Council Chairperson and Lions representative to UN Women, Angelo Presigliotti, to introduce our next speaker.
Good morning, Lions, Leos, and potential Lions. Last year's focus for Lions Day with the United Nations was peace and gender equality. Today we are extremely honored to have with us the Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations and Deputy Executive Director of UN Women, which is the United Nations entity for women's equality and empowerment of women, Madam Lakshmi Puri. I ask President Korolev to join Madam Puri at the podium to sign our Memorandum of Understanding regarding the empowerment of women and girls throughout the world.
Where do we sign it here? We sign it here? Please. Said title. Then 4th March. Why don't we stand here
together? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you again.
Good morning, distinguished Lions, Leos, and as I heard, potential Lions. It's a real honor and privilege for me personally, but also on behalf of United Nations entity on gender equality and women's empowerment to be here amongst you and to have signed this momentous and important partnership MOU. Just as I was coming, I was remembering in my previous incarnations since childhood how I had been touched in different ways by the Lions Club movement. I come from India, where the Lions Club movement, as you know, is not only alive and kicking, but really very, very dynamic. So I have seen this very powerful citizenship movement doing what it should be doing in terms of those who have a commitment to society, to the community, to come together and make that big push for transformation and positive transformation and change. I was looking at also what are the attributes of Lions and what kind of a partner, therefore, we at UN Women expect the Lions Club movement to be. So a lion is brave. Courage and bravery is one of the strongest attributes of the lion. And we expect very much that you will be brave to come forward and demolish all the patriarchal structural barriers that hold back women and girls in the world. A lion is also one of the most protective beings. We call upon you to protect the most vulnerable, those women and girls who are left behind, who suffer violence and discrimination every moment of their lives. So that's what we ask you to do. Also, you are willing to fight. You are willing to fight for right. And believe me, in this century, there is one cause and none other worth fighting for like a lion, and that cause is gender equality, women's empowerment, and women's rights. Lions, as members of the Pride, are team players. And you together, therefore, represent a big force for good, for humanity, and for global public good. Because gender equality and women's empowerment is one of the most important global public goods that the Lions Club should take up. But lions are also loners in the big scheme of things. In terms of the vision, not everybody may agree with you, but you want to lead if you have the vision and if you want to go in a particular direction. And as we see every day, gender equality and women's empowerment, there is a huge constituency, the women's movement, the youth movement, the citizenship movement, but there is also huge resistance. And there are millions out there still resisting this cause. So each one of you, I ask, through this partnership, each one of you lead the way. No matter what, lead the way and others will follow. Now about the partnership. This partnership is not new. It has flourished from Lions' commitment to address gender disparities across the world. Just a year ago, at the 38th Annual Lions Day with the United Nations, Leos gathered to discuss peace and gender equality as a strategic priority and signed a letter of intent with UN Women to work together towards achieving gender equality and women's empowerment and women and girls' empowerment, because we have to capture the whole life cycle of support and empowerment, and also young women empowerment. I'm very proud to stand here today to celebrate the translation of these initial sparks of interest into a sound, solid agreement which will yield concrete results at the national and regional levels and prove that Lions Club has a global footprint to change the lives of women and girls. Lions Club International continues to be one of the most impactful international service and leadership organizations. And we need both service and leadership on gender equality and women's empowerment. It has commendable dedication, that also you need, and a persistence, because this is a cause where you can have 2 steps forward and 3 steps backward. We have to make the gains irreversible. Also, it's about global citizenship, thinking beyond your family, beyond your community, beyond your country, for the world. And we are grateful for the work the Lions has done in the past of supporting and empowering women and girls through their service projects and leadership opportunities. I want to tell you, I know you know about us these days. Mr. Google will tell you everything. But I want to share with you who we are. UN Women is a global advocate first and foremost, and a universal advocate. We are present on the ground in 90 countries, but through our advocacy, we are all over the world. And we were set up 6 years ago to be that integrated entity that will push the frontiers of international standards on gender equality and women's empowerment related commitments of governments, first and foremost governments, so that they adopt policies, adopt laws and constitutions that end discrimination and that provide for affirmative action and accelerated action to advance gender equality and women's empowerment in all sectors, in all areas. The second aspect of our work is, of course, these campaigns, global campaigns. As you know, we have the Planet 50-50 by 2030, Step It Up for Gender Equality campaign, and I know many of you are already engaged in that. We have the He for She campaign, which also has a huge following and impact. We have the Unite to End Violence Against Women campaign and Oranging the Neighborhood campaign. All of these, I know many of you are already engaged with. We are also the center of excellence and knowledge hub for everything to do with women's rights. We gather evidence, we present evidence, we make the case for why action should be taken, what action should be taken, and how we go about taking action in different countries, in different settings. And we are, as I said, in 90 countries on the ground, driving programs for women's economic empowerment, for their voice, participation, and leadership in all sectors, public life, economic life, companies, corporate boards, also in all institutions of governance, from parliaments to the executive, to the judiciary, to law enforcement, public institutions. We are also there in all countries to do movement building, because the gender equality agenda has 2 sides. One is changing the politics of it, changing the legal frameworks. Would you imagine that in this 21st century we still have 155 countries that discriminate against women by law on economic rights? So we need to move the earth. We are also about driving a global movement on ending violence against women. I was in Latin America recently, and we had done an exhibition on feminicide. And what is feminicide? Killing women because they are women and girls. This is happening in our civilization, in this civilized world. So this is something, women, the violence against women is rampant, it's a global pandemic, and we need you to also support this global movement to eliminate all forms of violence, whether it is child marriage, whether it is feminicide, whether it is trafficking, everything that really militates against the human rights of women must be eliminated. Zero tolerance for violence against women is what we all need to work for. I also want to, I know you already must be quite immersed in the Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. But I want to tell you how in that agenda we have the strongest gender equality and women's empowerment compact of the international community. This agenda is not unlike the Millennium Development Goals, which was meant for the developing world, the poorer countries. These goals, 17 goals, are for every country in the world to achieve. And in that agenda, gender equality and women's empowerment and achieving women's human rights has been put in the heart of the agenda, recognized as a precondition to achieve sustainable development. And you know, sustainable development is defined as economic growth, social development, harmony, cohesion, and also environmental sustainability. So for all these three to be achieved, you need gender equality and women's empowerment. That's what Agenda 2030 says. Also, there is a dedicated Sustainable Development Goal 5 to achieve, not just promote, gender equality and empower all women and girls everywhere. And leave no one behind philosophy of this agenda is something that also, and the targets are all about ending discrimination in law and practice, ending all forms of violence and harmful practices, recognizing, this is a frontier recognition and commitment, recognizing unpaid care work, valuing and recognizing unpaid care work of women. They do 2.5 times more of that than men. And also provisioning that, sharing that. This is a huge commitment. Also, universal access to sexual and reproductive health and rights. This is about the integrity, security, and safety of a woman's body and her right to choose. It's also about equal participation and leadership, as I mentioned earlier, in all aspects of public, political, and economic life. So this goal is there, and we look to you in this partnership to also take forward this agenda and the Gender Equality Compact therein. Now, in our partnership we are celebrating today is also about contributing to this realization of this agenda with specific focus on Lions' priority areas of climate change. By the way, SDG 13 is climate change, but also we managed to include in the Paris Climate Agreement a very specific commitment on gender equality and women's empowerment to be a driving force in climate action. So now we are going to be working on the priority areas of climate change, hunger, and health through our joint programs in India, USA, Germany, Kenya, Colombia, Mexico, and Lebanon. The first key area of this partnership is climate change and its gender-related effects. You know that women are affected differentially and disproportionately by climate change, and especially the more than 1 billion women who live in poverty. Also, it is now well established that climate change has significant linkages with disease and other health problems and food insecurity, water and sanitation and hygiene, displacement and loss of livelihoods, and conflict. So when you address climate action, you are also addressing some of these collaterals, co-benefits when you are doing something positive. As the debate on climate responses persists, water levels rise, climate change is causing destruction around the world, and women have to play their part and are playing their part, but they need to be supported. They are on the front lines, but without the necessary support. So, the second key area of this partnership is hunger. Food is not just about the quantity, but the quality. In poor households, and I know this in my country, women are often less likely to get the nutrients they need, including while in pregnancy or lactating. And girls and women, when you have limited resources, they are the last to eat and the least to get. So, this is something that this gender inequality intersects with inadequate or lack of health care, insufficient education, and limited income to drive these deprivations. So inequities in food consumption stand in contrast to women's significant role in agricultural production, and research shows that on average women represent 43% of the agricultural labor force in developing countries and 50% in parts of Asia and 80% in parts of Africa. Yet their potential, and we all know as far as food processing is concerned, at home and elsewhere, women play a predominantly large role. So the achievement of the elimination of hunger, SDG 2, by 2030 will only be possible if gender equality considerations are in all actions related to food security. The third thematic focus is on health, and gender equality is a top priority in closing the health equity gap worldwide. A holistic, integrated, and human rights-based approach is critical, and not only in regard to sexual and reproductive health, which of course is always a focus because of the role of the reproductive role that women play so centrally. So, and there, there is the provision of health services side, health care services, and there is, of course, the prevention side, but there is the whole issue of demand side. Are women and girls aware? Is there comprehensive education on health, including sexual and reproductive health? And are they empowered enough to access health services? So this is something we are working on in all of these three areas. So I last of all come to this, the issue of our UN Women's Youth Strategy, which is very much a part of our partnership. And we are celebrating today focuses on the three areas that I just described, but we are committed to ensuring that our initiatives reach the girls and young women who are most marginalized, and to ensure that no one is left behind. We have a great transformative promise, which in turn leads to lasting impact across generations. Special thanks to Lions for stepping up for gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls, and for being a Planet 50/50 champion. Thank you, and all the very best in all your efforts and for our partnership.
Thank you, Assistant Secretary General Puri, for being with us today. That was very insightful. Please accept this peace poster plaque as a gift from Lions Club International on behalf of what you've done and continue to do to empower women and girls. And thank you, Ravi, for bringing her here today. As past Council Chairman Prasigliotti mentioned, one of the focuses during last year's Lions Day at the United Nations was gender equality, and it really had an impact on one of our attendees. One of the participants of our gender equality panel discussion was Lion Debbie Cantrell, the first female president of the 75-year-old Lebanon Host Club in Missouri and a disaster relief volunteer. Many of us were most moved by her own personal story of domestic abuse and recovery. She credits being a Lion with boosting her confidence, and she even became a board president of COPE, a domestic violence shelter and resource center that addresses non-bullying and healthy relationships in public schools. After last year's Lions Day at the United Nations, Debbie reached out to several area Lions clubs to organize a similar panel on gender equality and domestic violence in her own Missouri community. She moderated the panel that included a school counselor, emergency room doctor, sheriff, a judge, and COPE's executive director, Judy Kyle, who also attended last year's Lions Day at the United Nations and has since become a Lion, not a potential Lion. Nearly 200 people attended that event, and one attendee was so moved that she made a large anonymous donation to the shelter. Debbie is here with us in the audience today, and we just want to thank her for continuing her efforts. Lion Debbie, please stand to be recognized. Where are you, Deb? There she is. On a personal note, Deb, after they had a tornado that went through her district, she was very instrumental in the disaster relief there, and we spoke on how to get things going there. And she's just a true hero, a true lion. And thank you, Deb, for coming back here this year.
One of the ways that Lions and the United Nations are able to accomplish so much is through our strong partnerships with other organizations. This year, for the very first time, Lions are teaming up with 12 organizations, 12 other service clubs throughout the world, and Lions and these 12 organizations are sponsoring what we're calling the International Week of Service, which is taking place the last week of this month. We hope that this will be the first of many years of cooperation between Lions and other service club organizations throughout the world as we together work to make this a better place to live. I urge you to visit weekofservice.org for more information on this worldwide Week of Service. Weekofservice.org is the website. Let me ask you now, please, to take a look at how Lions are working closely with one of our esteemed shared partners, the Special Olympics.
One of my dreams is to be in the World Games.
Oh, dream to be Asia Pacific Australian team.
My dream is football.
For 15 years, Lions have helped Special Olympics athletes through the Opening Eyes program.
What's offered to the program, we do an eye screening. Whatever sport the athlete is doing, we make sure that we have the type of glasses that's ready for them.
Thanks to financial support from LCIF and Lion volunteers, thousands of athletes have received glasses they need to succeed on and off the field. Now the partnership between LCIF and Special Olympics sets its sights on another goal: inclusive sports.
Our vision in Special Olympics is to empower people with and without disabilities, with and without intellectual challenges, to play together. We think that you can learn a lot on playing fields.
Lions aren't the only ones getting in on the action. Leos are stepping up to play alongside the athletes.
Playing with them, I had the opportunity of playing even basketball. It was amazing to see how they overcome things and participating in sports activity.
I was really touched playing with these athletes today, and it was a really nice experience for me. And emotionally also, it was pretty cool.
Leos have the chance not to change the world when they get older, but to change the world now. And it's as simple as playing a game and showing someone who otherwise would be excluded that they belong. It's a very big, powerful gift.
On the core, we are all athletes, and that is what really matters, that you play the game as it is supposed to be played.
We become one when we get involved in sports. We're all on the same level, and we make them feel special.
I love it.
I'm happy. I've got lots of friends.
We're winners!
I have a 30-year-old daughter who's autistic. It was an opportunity to build friendships, which I have to say, are probably the deepest and longest friendships she's had or are likely to have.
Lions and Leos are diving in to promote involvement and acceptance of people of all abilities.
People in group homes with intellectual disabilities can sometimes stay at home all day. After they've woken up, there's nothing to do.
For many people with children with intellectual disabilities, there are a whole range of obstacles, and one of the most obvious is not necessarily feeling part of the community or feeling that people understand what life's like.
Some of the parents and athletes have formed specialty Lions clubs.
We want to do everything that other Lions clubs do. But what we do have is a particular focus on Special Olympics, building a relationship with Special Olympics that will enable us to know what the things are that will make life better for the athletes.
It's a partnership that continues to be a slam dunk.
I just want to thank Lions for everything that we've been able to achieve. It's happened because of Lions and Special Olympics. So I'm so grateful for Lions. You're amazing.
How many of you were able to join us yesterday afternoon at the Grand Hyatt Hotel for the Unified Sports Experience? I know you enjoyed that presentation, and I'm told that all of the participating Lions and Leos and athletes, including the very enthusiastic Summers New York Leo Club, also enjoyed the presentation. We're so grateful to Special Olympics for working with us to organize that unforgettable event. Lions and Leos and Lions Clubs International Foundation have a long-standing relationship with Special Olympics. An estimated 68% of Special Olympics athletes have not had an eye examination in the past 3 years. 37% are in need of eyeglasses. 18% are wearing clinically incorrect glasses. Through our Opening Eyes programs, Lions around the world register athletes, conduct vision screenings, and fit glasses at Special Olympics Games. More than 12,000 Lions have volunteered, and LCIF has contributed more than $12 million U.S. in funding this program. Our next speaker personifies the relationship between our two organizations. As chairman of Special Olympics, this Lion leads one of the world's largest social movements for change. In his role as chairman, he happily serves together with more than 5.3 million Special Olympics athletes in 170 countries, all working together to promote health, education, and more unified world through the joy of sports. Before joining Special Olympics in 1996, he was and he remains a leading educator focusing on social and emotional factors in learning. He co-founded and currently chairs the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, CASEL, the leading school reform organization in the field of social and emotional learning. He's a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, co-chairman of the National Commission on Social and Emotional Learning, president of the Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. Foundation, member of the board of directors for the WPP Group, LLC, and is a co-founder of the Lovin' Scoopful Ice Cream Company. After graduating from Yale University, he earned a master's degree from Catholic University and a doctorate in education from the University of Connecticut. He has produced 4 films. He's the author of a New York Times best-selling book, Fully Alive, Discovering What Matters Most. He's written for dozens of newspapers and magazines and received degrees and honors which he happily accepted on behalf of others. A Lion since 2001, he is a charter member of the Washington, D.C. Special Olympics Lions Club, and he's been a steadfast global supporter and promoter of Lions worldwide. His father, Sergeant Shriver, was also a charter member of his Lions Club. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Dr. Timothy Shriver.
Hey, Tim. Great to see you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, what a great, extraordinary, slightly exaggerated introduction. I'm thrilled. The only thing Chancellor Bob didn't mention is that I'm married to Linda Potter, who's here, who is also the mother of our 5 children, all of whom are future Lions, right? I do want to begin. First of all, we've had an extraordinary morning already. I'd say at least 2, if not 3 keynotes already touching on some extraordinary information, message, inspiration. So while I'm listed, at least in this program that I got, as the keynote speech, I want to recognize the extraordinary people in the room and recognize with gratitude some of the remarks that have gone before me. The president of the Lions Clubs International, Bob Corlew, the chairperson of Lions Clubs International Foundation, Dr. Jatsuhiro Yamada, Dr. Naresh Agarwal, the first international vice president, Chung Yul Choi, the third international vice president, second international vice president, Bjort Jungvadotir, Special Olympics athlete, Mina Bhagat, who I haven't had a chance to meet yet, but I'd like to ask to stand because we're going to get to hear from him soon enough. Mina's here with Ragna Shapendok, the national director. We thank you, Ragna, for coming. I'm also, thank you, joined by my colleagues from Special Olympics, the president of Special Olympics Europe, Eurasia, David Evangelista, longtime Lion, the president of Special Olympics North America, Mark Edenson, the founder of Special Olympics Open Water Swimming, Kestra Edwards, who I gather led the unified experience yesterday, Carmen Bannon, who is also from Special Olympics New Jersey here. We have so many distinguished guests in the room. It is my honor to stand in this extraordinary space and share with you just a few minutes about the importance of our work together. We come together at a time that we cannot help but recognize is filled with risk. It doesn't matter what country you're from. It doesn't matter whether you're a Lion or a Leo. It doesn't matter what color your skin is, what gender you are, what your religion is. It feels to almost all of us like the future of the planet is hanging in the balance. We have choices before us: include or exclude, welcome or limit, open hearts or hearts of fear. We stand in this space that was created around the idea of nations being united. But too frequently people come into this room and they think about nations. How often do they really ask themselves the hard question about the united piece of the puzzle? Look at this symbol we have. We've all seen it on television, maybe our whole lives. This symbol of the planet we all share. Look how small it is. Look how close the land masses are. Look how absent that picture is of lines and divisions. You don't see boundaries of nations. You don't see definitions of historical military conflicts. You don't see where this war or that war divided this person or that person from one another. You see a small little planet encircled by the idea, the promise, the olive branch, the hope of peace. For those of you who are Leos, my generation, our generation, is in some ways reminding you of both our successes as a community and our failures. In some ways, the world is closer. In some ways, we have overcome more boundaries and more barriers. But in other ways, we are asking you to do what we have not yet been able to do, to find a way to unite the world, to find a way to focus So you ask, what's our answer? If you said, how are you going to do it? What's our answer? Look no further than the symbol on your lapel, the words in front of you, the motto of our organization. It is to serve. We believe that service is not simply about help. It is not simply about the transfer of goods and services. It is not simply about joy. It is not simply about learning or understanding. It is about the most fundamental challenge facing the planet, which is unity. We believe that in service, in the act of serving, we don't discharge a duty. We don't just do what we're told we ought to do. We don't just fulfill our obligation as lions and Leos. We discover our best selves. We serve not just to help someone else, but to discover the very nature of our own desire to live in a more open and welcoming world. We come wearing our Special Olympics hats on behalf of people who carry a special label, intellectual disability. Thank God we use those words today, because those of you who are my age or older will remember other words almost too painful to repeat. We remember words that spoke to terrible discrimination, heartbreaking loss of life and hope, loneliness on a scale most of us can barely imagine. Think back just a few decades to the mother whose child is born with Down syndrome. And the doctor comes in and tells her, "I'm sorry. This surprise has come into your life, this tragedy, this hopelessness, this sadness." Think back to the loneliness of that mother and father, the fear, the anxiety. What will become of my child? What will become of me? What will become of my family? What will people say when they see me? What will they say behind my back? How will I make it? They were not experiencing what it means to be less fortunate. They were experiencing what it means to be treated with less justice. They were experiencing what it means to be on the wrong end of stigma. Not because of who they are, but because of the community and society around them. Not because of them, I'm sorry to say, but because of us. We come to celebrate not the importance of more help to the less fortunate. We come here to celebrate the hope of more community between all of us who hope and aspire to live our best lives. So, this partnership between our two organizations is now, in our movement, the stuff of history. As Lion Bob said, in 2001, I, and together with a small number of my colleagues at Special Olympics in Washington, became charter members of our club. We started off in a space of common ground, not just with that club, but around the world, and something we knew and understood together, vision. As Lion Bob said, so many of our athletes aren't less fortunate because of their disability, they're more discriminated against because of their disability. They're excluded from eye exams, they're excluded from getting good glasses, they're excluded from care, clinical support, they're excluded from the idea that they should be allowed to see. It sounds shocking. It sounds extreme, but it's true. So Lions and Special Olympics came together. And around the world, we began this extraordinary journey of bringing doctors and volunteers to games. They came to track meets and to swimming pools, sat at the side and said, "Now you've jumped out of the pool. Let me see your eyes. Let me test your vision. Let me support your goal of trying to look at that chart. Even if you don't speak the language, what's the shape?" And oftentimes in their bathing suits and in their track suits, the sadness was revealed, the tragedy and the neglect, and at the same time, within hours, the glasses were fitted. And one lion after another went up to one Special Olympics athlete after another and put on a brand new pair of prescription glasses. And one of our favorite stories was a 25 or so year old athlete who got her first pair of glasses in New Zealand. and looked around and looked at her mother and said, "Mom, I see you. Mom, I never knew how beautiful you are." We call it opening eyes. And I often ask myself, whose eyes are opened? Whose eyes are opened? Was it the doctor who would never provide the care before? Was it the mother who never knew it was possible? Is it the athlete who can now see clearly? Or is it all of us whose eyes are opened to the beauty of that human being, the beauty of that connection, of that relationship? Mom, you're beautiful. Now we look ahead in these times and not backward. We do have new heights to reach. We do have new mountains to climb. And as we go up and up and up and up, maybe there'll be an echo. Picture yourself climbing that mountain that Bob is asking us to climb, reaching for that new height. Picture yourself on the path, way up high, getting away from the past, reaching ourselves to some place we've never yet discovered. But imagine at the same time what the great spiritual writer Jim Finley describes, that as you're climbing that mountain, maybe the wind carries a small voice from way down in the valley. And that small voice is maybe still crying way back down in the valley as you're climbing high. And maybe you turn back and return down and discover that child in that room, alone. Maybe that child is your own past. Maybe that child is the one child who you haven't taken up that mountain. Maybe that child is your best self, asking to rise with you. Maybe we climb only to the heights when we climb together. So as we set forth in this time, we think of what mountains we can climb together, not as singular, if you will, adventurers, but as people of community, as people of service. Who will we bring up and who will lead us up? I dare say it's the Leos. I'm sorry to say, for many of us, we've done our best. And now it's time. It's time to watch this new energy of young people take over now as they... This is a fearless generation. I was looking at a study the other day that looks at people and how they evaluate the future. And adults, depending on the country you look at, 30 to 50 or 60% will say, "I'm afraid of the future." You know what the millennials and the Gen Zs, what the percentage is? 6%. 94% are not afraid of the future. They're empowered to create a future. They want autonomy. They want a role. They want a clear path. They want to fulfill their dream. They want change. And the primary changes they look for, the primary interests of this younger generation, center on education, something we share. Center on access to decent health care, something we share. And it centers on inclusion. The ending of prejudices that have dominated the human family for far too long. Leos are ready to articulate not just the idea, but the ways in which we can get there. The great futurist Alvin Toffler said, the illiteracy of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. For all of us who want to climb to new heights, we will have to not just learn how to climb, but we will have to unlearn a few things that have gotten in our way. And we will have to relearn new patterns of cooperation and new opportunities to break down barriers that we might never have dreamed possible. I think the Leos will show us how. So we come together to invite, on this historic occasion, Lions all over the world to rededicate themselves to mission inclusion. We have seen too much of the painful ignorance and the fear. And we want to end it. With what, you say? Our answer? With play. How will we discover the way to see more clearly, to open our eyes? With play. How will we end the empathy breakdowns that have dominated the planet? With play. How will we end our fear of our own vulnerability? With play. It sounds too simple. It sounds too common. Are you saying to us, is Kester Edwards saying to us, is Mina saying to us that we can heal the world with sport, with play, with recreation, with the courage to jump onto the field and see a teammate? That is the audacity of our dream. It is the audacity of our belief that if we want to be united, it cannot just be at the level of nations, but it has to be at the level of our hearts. And our hearts are opened, and our hearts can see when we play together. It is the formative experience of human development. The first classroom of all learning is play. Every mother and father in this room knows it. You can remember, even if it was a long time ago, the first time your little baby looked up at you and maybe held a ball, and you handed it to them, and they caught it. The first time your little baby opened her eyes or his eyes big when you played hide and seek, when you played with your child began to believe in that connection, to believe in their relationships with you, and to learn, to trust, to play. We come finally at a time when we believe this play is more urgent than ever. You know, in this country, some of you at least, if not many of you, are Americans. You know that there's a kind of a big debate going on. A big question as to where and how our country will go forward. Let me just give you a few words from one of the signature artists of this generation, of the Leos. The Leos, now, some of you might not have heard of Pharrell Williams. How many of you have heard of, not counting Leos? Those of us, okay, you've heard of him. What's his big song? Happy. So here's Pharrell Williams, an icon of happiness, on television just a few weeks ago. A representative of the Leo's generation, a spokesperson for what we are trying to invite the world to join us in today. He says, "I'm telling you, the world is a beautiful place, but it doesn't work without empathy, and it doesn't work without inclusion." This is a pop star. God, he continued, God is love, the universe is love, and that's the only way it will function. And I get it, he says. Sometimes the divisive stuff works. We learn that. But you have to choose what side you're on. I'm choosing empathy. I'm choosing inclusion. I'm choosing love for everyone, even when I disagree with them. Even when I disagree with someone, I'm wishing them the best and hoping for the best, because we can't win the other way. I believe we are on the precipice of a revolutionary sweeping of the world with the idea, embodied by our younger generation, by our Leos, that the most fundamental challenge facing the planet is attitudes of mass destruction. And the most fundamental challenge to those of us who would like to defeat those weapons are attitudes of mass inclusion. I believe that the lessons will come not from politicians or scholars, not from CEOs or Nobel laureates. They will come from those who have been outside the circle, They will come from those who can tell us the story with authenticity about what it means to be excluded and to yet open up your heart and enter the circle. We look at the architecture of this room. I was stunned in some ways by being in this extraordinarily historic place. And this circle that sort of surrounds us, I'm not an architect. Some of you may understand it better than I do. But you can see the circle is designed to, I think, remind us that we're all in it together. But the circle's open. In the back, maybe there's a hierarchy in this room. Maybe the important people typically sit up here, and the next most important people are in the front rows. And the people way back in the balcony are considered the less, hi there. Maybe in the way in which nations think, this is the more important part of the room, and that's the less important part. Not here. The circle's open. The circle has to be open. We have to be agents of the open circle. And we have to remember that the wisdom that will lead us to inclusion is more likely to come from those coming in from the outside who can show us where our blind spots have been and where our hope lies. Let me close with a short version of a speech given a few years ago at a high school graduation. Most of you probably either graduated high school or have been to several high school graduations. Maybe you remember. How many people remember their high school graduation speaker? Well, that's pretty good. Most people are asleep during the speaker. But it was probably your principal or maybe the school superintendent, maybe a mayor or a politician, maybe a distinguished citizen of your town or your city. At this particular graduation ceremony, we could even imagine it was here, coming down the row as the valedictorian was a student named Troy Daniels. Troy Daniels stood just under 5 feet tall and has Down syndrome. So imagine you're at your high school graduation, and you look around, and coming down the aisle in his robe, preparing to stand on the podium, is young Troy Daniels. He gives a speech that lasts just under 2 minutes, but to me, he embodies what I hope and believe is the pathway for all of us. Let me just read a short excerpt. He opened, "My name is Troy Daniels, but my friends call me TD. I have Down syndrome. Because my heart is bad, I use a wheelchair. I do not speak very good. I am a person with disabilities. And when I say my friends, I mean real friends. I have friends, just like everyone else. Most of you think all people have friends, but for people like me, friends are not always real. Not too long ago," he continued, "people with disabilities could not go to school with other kids. They could not have real friends. They called people like me retard. That breaks my heart. When I came to school, there is a law that says all kids go to school in the place they live. The law says I can come to school, but no law can make me have friends. But then some kids started to think I was okay. First, it was just 1 or 2 kids. They found out that I cared about them and I loved my school. I told them I want to have real friends. We started to learn together that in some ways we were different, but in some ways we were the same. They called me friend and made sure I was in everything at school. I want all people to know and see that these students I call my friends are the real teachers of life. They are showing you how it should be. Yes, I am a person with a disability. The law says I am included, but it is my friends who say, TD, come sit by me. Troy Daniels ended his speech with that line, TD, come sit by me. We launch our quest to climb new mountains with those same words. Wherever TD is, whoever he is in your life or whoever she is in your life, whether it is your neighbor or your friend, your fellow lion or a Leo, or whether more likely it's that one person, that one group we still haven't reached, that person behind an invisible wall of loneliness and sadness and exclusion. Our mission is to say, come sit by us. Come into the circle. Today, refugees by the tens of millions and heroes among them, one at a time. All of them inviting us to create a world that is fitting and fulfilling of the dream of 100 years of Lionism, the dream of service to discover our best selves, the dream of an inclusion circle that is always open, the dream where no one ever is denied the chance to sit together with all of us and to fulfill their greatest potential to live a meaningful and purposeful life. Thank you, and thank you, Lions.
Lion Tim, thank you for your inspirational, informative remarks. Please accept this plaque from President Corlew for our appreciation. I don't know if you knew this, but Tim is a Quest-trained teacher.
It's true. Quest-trained, that's right. And I don't know if you know this, but if you want to find good pizza in New York, Al is the guy.
Are we having fun yet? Our next speaker's journey to the headquarters of the United Nations is a remarkable one that typifies the courage displayed by so many Special Olympic athletes. Several years ago, 25-year-old Mina Fernand Bagat, his mother Maria, his brother Michael, fled the Middle East and sought refugee asylum status in the Netherlands. Adjusting to their new life took time, and the family had endured difficulties, including illnesses. But thanks to the support of Special Olympics, Mina was introduced to sports and a new life. His experience with Special Olympics has had a hugely positive impact, not only on his life, but that of his family's too. In the space of just a few years, Mina had lost an excess of 20 kilos in weight and has become an accomplished athlete in various sports, including speed skating. He will be one of 2,600 athletes from around the world who will compete in Special Olympics World Winter Games in Austria later this month. Please give a warm welcome to Mina.
Hello, everyone. I have a question for you. I have a story from you. I'm going to tell you about it. It's nice to be here in such an important place, the United Nations. I'm here to tell you about myself. This is a story. the story of millions of people in the world today. My name is Mina. I'm 26 years old. I'm a refugee, but I'm lucky to live in Netherlands. God bless Holland. They accept me and my family. I have a new future, a safe the future. Where can I be myself here? I can. I want it. I do it now. Important, this is most important. I found the Special Olympics, a place of friendship, of belonging, inclusion, acceptance, makes sport makes happy. Special Olympics changed my life. I learned short tracks. I can walk. I'm healthy. I lost 20 kilos. I can speak better Dutch, more than my mother. Okay. Now, I can clean my apartment, my own apartment. I want, I do it now. Okay. Thanks to the, I would say, thanks to the Lions. Lions are in. Thanks, Lions, and what? Thanks, Lions, I'm here. You give me that chance to change mind, to show what I can. I want, I do it now. Because you can, because you help, you give me a new life, a new beginning. I hope you keep helping the others like me to start sport. Help because so many others in the world like me, you need to change to say, I can, I want, I do it now. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Ready to go down? Yep, you go down. Yes. Thank you, Mina, for for joining us today, exchanging your experiences, and we were very happy and pleased that we were able to get you here also to participate. And our president would like to present to you our Peace Poster plaque in appreciation for your being here and sharing your story. Thank you. Wow. Get him off. Please welcome back to the podium, Lion Tim Schreiber.
Anybody do improv? We have just two things we wanted to say. The first is, Mina and I haven't met yet, but wow. I take my own personal time to say thank you, but this is an example of what the world can look like, right? This is an example of what's possible. How many, you speak Dutch, English, and Arabic. 3 languages. How many people in the room speak 3 or more languages? Okay, there's a few of you, but there's a few of us who are not yet in Mina's category. So we see how labels don't matter. And we see how adversity doesn't matter. If we give people the chance, we see what's extraordinary, what's possible. So, Mina, first, on behalf of the entire Special Olympics movement and Lionism, we want to celebrate that you are.
Yes.
You are what we hope the world will become.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Secondly, we want to thank on behalf of the entire Special Olympics movement, the 5 million plus athletes and millions of volunteers, including many of you. We want to thank President Bob. We want to recognize him on behalf of all the Lions with our gratitude for the generation of service and the mission inclusion which will lead us into the future. We gave you the book already.
You did. It's okay.
We'll take a picture. Yeah. Stand in the middle. Yes. There we go. How about that?
Don't cover your face.
Lower. We don't want to cover your face. There you go. Nice. Nice.
Thank you very much, Mina. Thank you, Lion Tim. Thank you so much.
I'd now like to call to the podium Leo Jordan Knudsen from the Cologne Leo Club of Minnesota.
Hello, everyone. First, I would like to say thank you to past International President Brandel and International President Corlew. I'm honored to be here today representing more than 170,000 Leos from around the world. In celebration of International Leo Day on December 5th, Lions Club International held a worldwide contest calling on Leos to create videos showcasing that they support the Sustainable Development Goals. 42 entries were received from 24 countries. Let's watch a few of the entries now. As you can see, Leos are working hard to support the UN Sustainable Development Goals on a global scale. I am told that choosing just one video from all those was very difficult, and watching those, I definitely can believe it. But a decision was made. The winner of the Leos SDG video contest is the Medan Stallion Leos from Indonesia. Leos from this club support Goal 6, clean water and sanitation. Let's watch the winning video right now.
What makes a planet habitable? It's water. In Indonesia alone, almost 1.8 billion children dies every year from water-related illnesses like diarrhea. You can make a massive difference if you solve this issue. We see that a lot of people don't really know how to fully utilize this benefit of clean water, like how to wash their hands properly, how to brush their teeth, and even just basically daily stuff. Especially children in orphanages and hard to reach this, which is why we have been making it our mission to educate our next generation, starting from children within our age, so as to ensure that they have a brighter, better long-term future.
Anda ya tahu nggak bahwa empang yang terus adu-adu bahwa kondisi air itu unik, karat dan berminyak.
We as a leader strive to make a change in our local communities. We teach them how to conserve water, the basics of how and when to brush the teeth, how and when to wash your hands, and sometimes we also help try to better the quality of the water sources. There are still a lot of places in Indonesia with poor level of access and service quality, especially in slums and places we have yet to reach. But what choice do they have? Certainly, you have a choice. Think about the way you use water. Try to be more precise and efficient.
We can stop earthquakes. We can do a lot about the climate change, but we surely can do a very simple act. Like teaching others to use water the right way, efficiently, and it can start from ourselves.
Kalau harapan saya, anak-anak saya tetap siap memakai air. Dan juga kepada yang memberi donatur, terima kasihlah. Kami tidak bisa membalas kebaikan dari saudara-saudara saya.
Wasn't that video amazing? Congratulations again to the Medan Stallion Leos. All the Leo SDG video entries can be viewed on the Leo YouTube channel right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leo Jordan. You did a truly outstanding job representing the Leos. This is our friendship banner for this year, representing the new mountains to climb and also showing our 100 years of service as Lions. I present this to you with our congratulations. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Well, fellow Lions, Leos, and prospective Lions, it's now time in the program for the part that many of you have been waiting for. You all will be the first ones. I hope you from the South heard the you all. More properly, it's y'all. Y'all will be the first to learn of the grand prize winners of our International Essay Contest and Lions International Peace Poster Contest. Let me ask you first to take a look at this video.
Peace is at our fingertips. We can use technology to bridge the gap created by geography, but we also need compassion.
We can reach across the mountains and the rivers to come together to form one world.
Okay, Jessica?
When working with others, we can be stiff as a board or free as a blade of grass blowing in the wind.
Thank you for sharing.
You did a wonderful job.
Good job, Matthew. Good job.
I'm sure if we did spread the word, then people would listen to us.
Created in 2010, the Lions International Essay Contest is an opportunity for young people who are visually impaired to achieve our goal of spreading peace and international understanding. I'm excited today to announce the winner of the 2016-2017 Lions International Essay Contest. The winner this year is Charlie Bruscotter of the Delaware, Ohio, USA. Charlie is joined here today by his younger brother Sam, his parents, and two of his grandparents, all of whom are Lions. The Delaware Lions Club president, Michael Jones, is also here with us today. And I would ask you, President Michael, would you be kind enough to accompany Charlie to the podium, and we'll ask Charlie to read his essay to us. Thank you.
Finding peace. There is too much fighting in this world right now. Some fighting is conveyed with war. Some fighting is brought up by politicians fighting for power. Some fighting is by people being stubborn and not being open to ideas. Some is caused by not accepting differences of others. Stopping this fighting begins with us. In order to find peace, we need to be friendly to other people, be open to new ideas, and accept people for who they are. The first step to establishing peace is being friendly to other people. If we spread love and friendliness throughout this world, others will feel confident in themselves and feel respected. When people realize that they are liked, they want to spread friendliness to others. Most of all, people should spread friendliness because everyone is special in their own way. This will help people be happy with who they are. The next step is to be open to new ideas. Many wars and fights have started because two groups believed different things were right and wanted to prove that to the other. We should be open to different ways to see the world. If we accept new ideas, there will be more possible solutions to the problems in this world. We can start just by listening to each other. The final step of peace is accepting others' differences. By accepting others' differences, we can get to know people that we could have never known if we judged them by how they looked or acted. If we don't judge others for being different from us, then we would have the ability to treat everyone on the face of the earth as humans. We could get to know other cultures around the world. We could understand others' existences in the world. But most importantly, we can coexist with every human, no matter how different. By showing friendliness to all, being open to new and different ideas, and accepting that none of us are the same, we can take a huge step forward to making a better place for all people, not just for us, but for everyone to have an equal happiness with their time on this planet. And someday, we can finally celebrate the day when the earth is at peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlie. That was great. We certainly appreciate your being here today, and congratulations to you on a wonderful essay.
Thank you.
I'm pleased to present to you your award today. That's the award, and of course it's in Braille as well as in print. And this is your certificate, which is also in Braille, which I have signed as well. Congratulations to you. I bet they're going to want us to step over here maybe, and let's take a photo perhaps. Okay. Is that this one too? President Michael, it's also my privilege to present to you this award, this presentation, and congratulations to you and the Delaware Lions Club for congratulating Charlie and for encouraging him and his classmates to participate in this presentation. President Michael, thank you. In addition to the award which Charlie just received, Charlie will also receive a prize of $5,000 U.S. Charlie, congratulations. Fellow Lions, nearly 30 years ago, Lions Clubs International created the Lions International Peace Poster Contest. This was created as a way for 11, 12, and 13-year-old boys and girls to express their feelings about world peace. Since then, literally millions of children have participated in more than 65 countries in our Peace Poster Contest. Let's watch this video, which will tell us more.
Sometimes the light of the world can't shine through. Wherever you turn, the beauty of the world seems lost. Sometimes, no matter how hard we look, we can't find hope. Until someone shows us. And the world is illuminated with the colors of peace. Get involved in the Lions International Peace Poster Contest. For more information, visit lionsclubs.org.
Just this year, some 600,000 young people around the world participated in our Peace Poster Contest. This was our 29th contest. There were 23 Merit Award-winning posters, and these came from a number of countries, including Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, Greece, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Mexico, MD 300 Taiwan, Portugal, Puerto Rico, and the United States. Here in the audience today is our Merit Award winner from Pennsylvania in the United States, Karen Mendoza. Karen is here with her parents and her sponsoring club Peace Poster chair, Terry Stam. Let's take a look at Karen's poster. Terry Stam. Let's take a look at Karen's poster. Today with Lakana are her father, her teacher, and the president of her sponsoring club, the Bangkok Ping Clau Lions Club. Thanks to all of you for joining us. The president of the Bangkok Ping Clau Lions Club is President Kampal Ching Chi Yangwang. May I ask you, please, Mr. President, together with Lakana, to join us here on the stage. And Lakana, together we're going to reveal your poster, if that's okay. Lakana, on behalf of Lions Clubs International, it's my joy to present this award to you in recognition of your achievement. And in addition, of course, to the award, Lakana will receive a $5,000 cash prize as well, $5,000 US. Lakana, would you like to say a few words?
ดิฉันดีใจและภูมิใจกับรางวัลอันทรงเกียรตินี้ Thank you, Lion.
Congratulations. Thank you. And now, Mr. President, let me present to you your certificate on behalf of the Bangkok Pink Lao Lions Club, and thank you for the encouragement you have given to Lakana and others in her class. Thank you so much.
Charlie's winning essay and Lakana's grand prize poster image will be posted on the LCI website following this event. We hope that each of your clubs are encouraged to participate in these contests as a way to inspire peace and understanding and engage young people in our communities.
Earlier today, we were fortunate to hear from Special Olympics athlete Mina Imad Fernan Bagat. Bagat fled from his home country to seek safety and a new life. According to the UN Refugee Agency, there are currently more than 65 million forcibly displaced persons worldwide. These men, women, and children need our help. Let's take a quick look at how some Lions are working to do their part.
In one night, we had 200,000 Syrian refugees.
It's estimated that 4.8 million people have been displaced. Nearly 3 million arriving in Turkey alone.
The Syrian refugee crisis is one of the worst humanitarian disasters this world has ever seen. And there is a huge amount of work we, as Lions, can do.
LCIF has set up a fund, and Lions have raised more than $1.2 million to aid clubs and districts.
その人たちをいかに助けるべきかと、国ができないような奉仕を我々が手を差し伸べようということ。
Lions in Turkey are providing backpacks filled with blankets and clothes.
Swedish Lions and Turkish Lions contribution, we are distributing basic food packages, toys, baby diapers.
Yönetim çevremiz sınırlarında Sarıyer ilçesindeki mevcut mülteci çocuklarının Türk dili öğrenmeden yaşadıkları zorlukları giderecek projeyi ivedilikle uygulayacağız.
It feels so good that we see now how happy people are when they get food and supplies, and the children get the football. So happy.
Lions in Norway and Lebanon are working together with a special focus on children.
There are hundreds of thousands of children who need medical help. They have problems with their eyes, they have hearing problems, they have burns because of the bombs.
罪のない子供たちが親を亡くし、そしてまた手足を切断され、これからどうやって生きていこうかというような迷っているところに、ライオンズがそこに手を差し伸べて、ライオンズクラブというのは素晴らしいなということを誇りに思います。
We find it's very important to take care of the kids, to keep them some hope for the future.
In the years ahead, Lions will forge partnerships between clubs, the UN, and other agencies to continue to reach across borders to help in this crisis.
Using our Lions friends in different countries is a big benefit because they know the culture. This makes it so much easier when we cooperate with different countries to give these children a future.
Fellow Lions, as you can see, the need is great. But the news is good. Everyone here in this room is in a position to help. I'm very excited today to introduce the men and women here on stage who will discuss the current situation and how we can support this effort. First, well-versed in the needs of refugees is our panel moderator. He is the co-chair of the Lions Refugee Steering Committee. Please welcome my good friend, International Director Helmut Marhauer. He spoke earlier today about his life as a Special Olympics athlete, and we're already cheering for him. Would you please welcome back Mina Imad Farnan Bagat. A human rights lawyer, Jisoo Naya, currently leads an initiative in partnership with UNICEF and Purpose to boost public engagement around the global refugee crisis. Prior to her current post, she led NGOs focused on human rights issues in Iran and worked on war crimes and crimes against humanity trials in The Hague, Netherlands. Would you welcome Jisoo Naya? When Mina Bagat fled his native country in the Middle East and sought asylum in the Netherlands to start a new life, he wasn't alone. He left with his mother and his brother, who are both with us today. We're fortunate to have his brother, Michael Imad Farnan, joining us on our panel. After just watching that video, the next panelist may look somewhat familiar to you. For 24 years, she has served as UNHCR representative. As the Minister of Interior and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, she worked with refugees for 2 decades. Joining us from Turkey, we have Lion Tulen Tanrikat. And last, but certainly not least, we have the LEO's International Liaison Officer from Germany. A member of the National Committee for Activities in 2015, she organized a countrywide project and assisted more than 3,000 refugees all over Germany. She is currently a law student studying private international law. Would you please make welcome Leo Deborah Herlin. And now, may I ask International Director Marhauer, would you please begin our panel discussion?
Thank you, International President Korliu. Welcome to all of you from the audience. I am honored to be here as the moderator of this panel discussion. Today we want to talk about humans that must leave their countries. Recently, we've heard a lot of talk in the media about them. But what is a refugee? And how do they differ from migrants and or other displaced persons? I would like to take a few minutes to clarify the differences. Refugees are persons fleeing conflicts or persecution. Their situation is often so perilous that they seek safety in nearby countries crossing national borders. Refugees are protected under international law, and their status provides them access to humanitarian assistance from governments, UNHCR, and other organizations. It is too dangerous for refugees to return home, and they need sanctuary elsewhere. Internally displaced persons are people who have been forced to leave their homes due to serious threat to their lives, but who have remained within the national borders of their country. They face hardships similar to refugees, but the international law does not apply to them until they cross a national border. Migrants are not fleeing imminent threats to their lives. They choose to move to improve their lives, mainly from an economic standpoint, to find work, access to education, and so on. Each government deals with migrants according to their local, to their national laws. With all of this in mind, I'm happy to start this discussion now with our panelists, and I would like to begin by asking who are these people, and I would take this question to Tulin because Turkey has much of experience with refugees over a long term. Also, you worked for refugees support more than 20 years. Can you please tell us, Tulin, who are these people? In combine with another question, how has the situation of refugees in your country changed over the decades you work for refugees? Please.
Yes, thank you. Believe me, dear Lions, refugees are people just like you and me. Politics change, civil war starts. You don't share the same ideas with your dictator or your government. And if you don't agree with your government, maybe you are imprisoned. So you choose to be a political refugee. Or a bomb falls, half of your village is burnt, and you start running. You just run as much as you can, as fast as you can, unless you find a place to accept you. Just think of a schoolboy. He goes to school. He comes home. There is no home. The building is bombed. Mother is dead. So a hand grab him, they start running. Anyway, these are the refugees. And now the situation. Believe me, nothing has changed much since the first day UNHCR started. First, in Turkey, we had refugees from Eastern Europe. They were fleeing from the Soviet invasion. They were the countries, European countries, behind Iron Curtain. Hungarians, Romanians, Czechoslovakians, Polish people. Then it was the Iranians and Afghanis running from radical Islam. Now we have the terrible Syrian civil war, and Syrian refugees are all over the world. In fact, we have 3 million in Turkey. Now, all these years I look back, one thing has not changed. You know, you put the refugee in a refugee camp, and he waits and waits and waits for a democratic country to accept him. Finally, that acceptance arrives. So I go to the refugee, I say, look, congratulations, you're accepted by Germany or France or USA. And I take his passport and I hand him his travel documents. And he looks at the travel document, he sees, he reads, there's this word named, called Heimatlos, which means stateless. And the minute he reads that, I could see the sadness in his eyes because he lost his country. He's a stateless person. So, this is it.
Thank you, Tulin.
You're welcome.
We heard about the problem Syrian refugees. Quite more than 1 million of them came to Germany in 2015, 2016. Between them, many young people. I asked Deborah, what are LEOs in your country doing to help? And in combine with it, can LEOs and young people in Germany do more for refugees? Please, Deborah.
Thank you. LEOs in Europe faced the refugee challenge with different activities. At the beginning, we started donating and collecting groceries and clothes. But what we are now must focus on is inclusion and integration. I asked several refugees to join our Leo clubs, to join our activities, to see our community, to help in our community and society. Our line from our Lions Club brought a refugee girl to our Leo Club, and she's now a member in my refugee club. And I'm happy to announce that next year a refugee in Germany will be club president in the Leo Club of Nuremberg. And this is what we must do. We must open our hearts, our minds, to let people in and help, include them in our society and community. And young people have the possibility and the chance to do it today. So please go out and do this.
Thank you. Mina, you are a refugee from the Middle East. We heard very much about you when you were speaking here on the podium. But you also are, as we heard, a special Olympic athlete. I want to ask you, what is your favorite sport?
Ice skating.
Ice skating.
Yeah.
Once more. Your favorite sport?
Ice skating.
Yes. And may I give you another question? Let you make it. Why do you like to participate in these sports?
Because I like it and give it. Because I like it, it changed my life. And give me a dream come true.
Okay, thank you, Amina. Then I want to ask Gisu, you also have much experience regarding refugees and you have special knowledge about Iran as well as about human rights. And therefore, I ask you, what is life like for Iranian refugees?
First of all, thank you to Lions Club International for having me here. I'm not a lion or a Leo, but I have enormous admiration for your network, so very happy to be here with all of you today. I'm Iranian American, and in that context, I was running a human rights NGO focused on human rights in Iran for several years. And the persons that we would interview in Turkey and Malaysia and Iraq over what had happened to them in Iran, well, they had all fled, obviously, because of persecution. Either they were Baha'is, so they were part of a minority religion, or a lot of them were LGBTQ persons, and the list goes on. And so what I had not realized, because you hear these numbers, right? You hear like 65.3 million displaced persons, 21.3 million refugees, more than half of them children. But to really connect to people and see where they live and the journey that they've gone through, unless you've experienced it yourself, is something quite different. And in terms of refugees from Iran, well, a lot of things have changed. At the time that I was doing these sort of in-country missions to collect evidence and find out their circumstances, that was before the war in Syria. And so at the time, people who were registered with the UNHCR system, they were not in camps largely in terms of the Iranian population. They were in apartments that they had been placed in central Turkey, in Iraq, Malaysia, and other places where there's high concentration of Iranian refugees. And they faced wait times of around 6 months to maybe a year and a half in terms of waiting for, entry-level interviews and to get placed into the ultimate destination country. But now, because of the magnitude of the crisis in Syria, some of the folks that I'm in touch with don't have their initial interview until 2020 or 2021. And imagine just being somewhere in a host country for 4 to 5 years, not really knowing what your future is going to look like, if you're actually going to be accepted somewhere, and if you can begin a new life. So the thing that I think is really important, regardless of what country of origin you're from, is that, to me, this is an enormous waste of human capital. There's so much human potential in these young folks and these folks of all ages and all backgrounds who are not allowed to work by law when they're in this system, who don't have certainty over whether or not they're going to be in school, whether they can get proper education. And there's only so much that host countries can do. I mean, Turkey is shouldering an enormous burden, not getting as much support as it needs from the international community. And I think all of us in this room need to come up with new solutions and try to think of how we can be part of solving this problem where governments and the international community has fallen short.
Okay. Thank you, Gisu. I think we can continue. More countries their refugees are coming from, but we will look back to the currently situation. And so I want to ask Deborah, you already told us what Leos and young people are doing and which possibilities more they have to help refugees. So I ask you, can you now tell us a little bit more about your organization, the country-wide project for supporting 2,500 refugees, you told. Please.
Yes. In 2015, I organized a multi-district and national-wide activity, the so-called Leo Bag activity. We provided recycled bags with the Leo sign on it and filled in with candy bars, games, and hygienic articles. We gave those bags out to 50 clubs, 50 Leo clubs in Germany, and asked those clubs to add some other stuff like groceries and clothes and give those out to the refugees. Here it was the most important part that the people, the clubs like the Leos, go to the refugees and talk to the refugees, listen to their stories, give them out as prizes maybe for a sports day, do activities with the refugees. Unfortunately, it is not always that easy in Germany to get in touch with refugees. The asylum houses sometimes don't allow us to get in touch with refugees. This makes it really hard to get our work done. But anyway, we tried so hard to just get to know refugees and let them in our community.
Thank you, Deborah. So we heard that Leos and young people can do a lot for refugees. And in addition, I want to ask Tulin, what can Lions and others in the audience do to help? Additional to that, what Leos can do, what Deborah was telling us,
yes.
Please.
Yes. Now, Lions and all other NGO members who are willing to help the refugees. Three main things. Education. We all know that education is as crucial as nutrition and shelter. Secondly, medical assistance, including teaching them birth control. Thirdly, psychological help. For me, this is the most important. Please keep in mind, refugees from Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan mostly have a very low level of education. Please be very patient when you are teaching them. Please bear in mind they have passed through bombs, gunfires, lost their families, left their loved ones behind, yet survived. Many refugees, mostly school-age children, have hearing problems, sight problems. They have injuries, but most of all, they have mental health problems. We have to give them love and affection along with psychiatric treatment. Let us please remember, a refugee is a proud person. He or she is not begging for food, warm clothes, or shelter. A refugee needs to be recognized and accepted by the society. Let us please remember what Greek philosopher Euripides said in the year 30 before Christ. There is no greater disaster than one's leaving his own land. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So we can hear that there are many possibilities to do something for refugees, also for migrants, by us Lions and by all other organizations that are not Lions. They can be motivated by us. But now I will come to another topic, and I appreciate that, Gisnun, that you are here to our panel. You are not a Lions member. You told it, I know it, but you are very involved to empower a Lions project named Future in Diversity. And can you tell us in some words about this, I say, important program for young people, please?
Sure. So Future in Diversity is something that's happening in Germany and potentially across Europe. But at Purpose, I'm a strategy director at a social change agency called Purpose, and we work very closely with UNICEF, civil society partnerships, to boost public engagement around the world on the refugee crisis, or refugee issues, if you will. And one area that we thought would be very important is in Germany, because we saw the wonderful work of Lions Quest, especially around substance and alcohol abuse prevention programs, and how successful that's been all over the world, anywhere where it's been applied. And we thought, well, you know, why not have a sort of social inclusion, anti-bullying curriculum that could be implemented in Germany and in other countries where there has been a large number of recent arrivals, refugee arrivals being resettled, and where there's going to be high schools and elementary schools, primary schools, where there are a lot of students from different backgrounds. We knew that inevitably, solutions begin with the youth, and for these folks to really understand where their new classmates are coming from, As was noted, the fact that a quarter of the folks that come through the UNHCR program have experienced extreme violence or torture, there's real mental health concerns. And then likewise, to have the kids that are already in these schools really be welcoming of their new classmates. I think everybody could benefit from this, and there was some discussions with Lions Quest early on around how to shape that curriculum, and very happy to know that the program is underway and that it's going to be in high schools throughout Germany, and so that's very exciting for us, and we're happy to support in the storytelling piece of that to really make sure that other folks outside of these networks know what's happening in these high schools and the wonderful results that it's bringing about, and hopefully it will spread throughout the continent.
Okay, thank you, Gisud. It's for me so important because that is processing our program Lions Quest. And if you are interested to this program, you can contact the German secretary, the German Lions secretary. That is an offer from me to you. Thank you, Gisud. So now I want to include Michael in the discussion. Michael, sport is a good basic for personal fitness, for health, but also a good chance to get contact to others in a sport team. So it is naturally an opportunity for integration, I think. And I want to ask you, in what way has sports changed your brother Mina's life? And the second question, first this question, I think.
Well, it has changed my brother's life since I can see it in his behavior, his feeling, his way at home, the sphere at home. When you can see him very happy, and well, the last 19 years he was locked up at home in Egypt, and when we came here in Holland, he was like the first 2 years he was still more or less like when he was at Egypt. But then we got in contact with the ice skating club and the Special Olympics, and then his life's changed. He became more self-dependent. He can do his own stuff by himself. I don't have to guide him, and I don't have to guide him and help him with everything, which feels like a relief for me also.
Thank you, Mike. The second question: how has Special Olympics changed your life, and could you learn something from your older brother Mina?
Special Olympics has changed my life by changing my brother's life. I mean, with that, because my brother became much more dependent on himself, he became less afraid of the world. He goes everywhere by himself now. He's depending on himself. He doesn't need help with everything, which changes my life towards my education and studies, and more time for myself, which gives me less worries about him. And I learned from him, he has a very strong willpower. If he wants something, he wants it, and that's a good thing to learn of.
Yeah, okay, thank you. As we heard, working for refugees and supporting them often is combined with situation we call touching moments. And so I want to ask Deborah, do you have a personal experience that you would like to share with us, please?
I want to share one personal experience with you. In Germany, we have the so-called Peace Village. In this Peace Village, it is a center for kids, just for kids who are between 0 ages and 15 years old. And those kids just need medical treatment. They're from third world countries, and they just come for medical treatment for a certain period, all by themselves, without their family, to Germany for the medical treatment. And I go there several times a year to the Peace Village and play with those children. The children are, it is really heartbreaking if you look at them. They have scars all over their bodies because they were forced, they have experienced bombs. They sometimes lost their arms and legs, but it doesn't matter because they are children and they still want to play, they want to have fun, they deserve a childhood full of fun and games, and this is what I, as a Leo, want to provide for them, a fun childhood, and it is my most touching moment to go there and play with those children.
Mina, another question to you. What message would you like to share?
Okay. My message is for the people, don't give up. Try and try. I can, I want, I do it now.
Please say it once more.
Once more. Okay. I can, I want, I do it now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Michael, last question for you. Did you notice a different behavior of other people towards Mina after he joined Special Olympics? And if it's so, have you an example?
Yes, indeed, I have an example. People start looking at my brother in a way that about what he can achieve instead of what he can't. As an example, he lives in an institution for people with a disability. At this institution, he does daily work so that he can spend his day in something useful. He wanted to work at like a tea house, but they said to him that he can't do that because he's not depending on himself enough yet, that he needs too much supervision for this. But that was like a couple of years ago. At this moment, people look at him, what he achieved, that he is going to the Olympics, that he is traveling to Austria after 2 weeks, and people start looking at him as a successful man, as a normal person, instead of a man with a disability.
Okay. Good information. Thank you, Michael. Now I have the last question to Tulin. You once have said, Tulin, that part of what Lions offer is compassion and caring heart.
Yes.
We often heard it this day, we need the heart, and we Lions have the heart. Do you have a personal experience upon this that you would like to share with us? Tulin?
Yes, I have two experiences which I cherish. One, I was only 30 years old, and one day in the office there was this general, Hungarian general, ran away from the Hungarian in 1956. Anyway, his title was Sanshölye Imre Toth. And anyway, we became, every month I used to see him. We became like father and daughter, and he became very old, and he was just about to die. And when they ran away, his wife and his only daughter went to Austria, and he came to Turkey for some reason that I don't know. So I wanted him to find, at least to see before he died, to see his daughter. I made so many phone calls, etc., and finally his daughter came. He stayed in a small apartment. I took the daughter. I said, Imre Bey, Chancelier Toth, I brought your daughter. And she says, Daddy, Daddy, and he turned his back to her and he said, I only have one daughter. And this is Tülin. That's very heartbreaking for the daughter and such a reward for me. And then, if you have allowed me, just one more story I have. Again, 30 years ago, the police informed me, Tülin Hanım, there's a newcomer, a refugee from Iraq-Iran border. He's only 17, 18 years old. Please be prepared. So at 5 o'clock in the morning, I went to the office. There was this poor young boy, I would say, very dirty, very tired. And so I fed him. I gave him clean clothes. We let him to have his wash, etc. And then U.S. Consul General were prepared to accept him. So anyway, after all these things, I took him to the U.S. Embassy. And that's it. 25 years later, I'm retired. And I'm watching BBC News. And here I see this very well-dressed young gentleman giving interviews to the BBC reporter. His name is Nechirvan Barzani, and he is the Prime Minister of the state of Kurdistan. Thank you.
Thank you, Tuli.
Thank you.
I think that will be a good finish of our panel, because I could not do it better when I heard what you say. So I say thank you to everyone here on the podium. This, what we heard, I think has been so enlightening. And because also the time is over, I want to encourage all of you to go back home and have these discussions with your family, with your friends, and also for your fellow Lions and Leos. And with these words, I want to say thank you for your attention. Thank you to panelists, and thank you, International President Bob Corlew, for inviting me to moderate this panel. Thank you so much.
Mind my telling this story that when we were preparing for this panel, Lion Helmut, who obviously speaks English as a second language, he and I had a discussion, and Helmut says, "May I have an interpreter here?" And I says, "Helmut, you don't need an interpreter. Your English is better than mine." Lion Helmut, seriously, I want to thank you so sincerely. You have done such a wonderful job as the moderator, and we sincerely appreciate your work. Thank you. And I sincerely want to thank each member of the panel as well. Thanks to all of you for being here. Thank you for the insight that you have given to us. This has been such a wonderful panel discussion. We thank you so much for the insight that each of you have given to us, and we appreciate the fact that each of you have pointed out ways in which we Lions and Leos can help even more, I'll say, in this situation. I do want to present to each of you gifts on behalf of Lions International, and thank you again so much for your work for us. Thank you so much. Helmut, this is yours, sir. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Michael? Thank so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mina, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you. Deborah, thank you so much. That's right. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you again.
Well, the panel discussion has given us a lot to think about, hasn't it? Some of the results I'm getting on social media that you're putting out here said it was an extremely emotional day, panel discussion, and I think it's been a huge success. We're very interested in knowing what you think of how this all went today, and any suggestions that you have or comments or even criticisms. So we can continue to improve what we're doing here. And we have an email set up for you at ldun@lionsclubs.org. LDUN, Lions Day at the United Nations, at lionsclub.org. And you'll be receiving a survey in the mail. We'd also like to hear about that so we can improve this event in the future. Before I make some other remarks, a lot of people made this possible that you'll never know what goes on. It's sort of like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Once it's over, we start planning again for next year. And we have huge plans for next year because our goal is to make it bigger and better every year. And this one's going to be tough. Wow. Wow. First, I'd like to thank the governments. For the first time ever, we had cooperative co-sponsors from our governments, United States government, the Iceland government, the Indian government, and the Korean government, but particularly Iceland, who was their representative, has been with us and been so cooperative all along. I don't know, Vardy, you got to be here someplace because they're not going to let us in the building without you, but Vardy, who represents the government of Iceland, he's probably out trying to get one of us back in or get out, I guess, but he's a phenomenal person. Yeah. I'd also like to thank Natalie Brain and her staff. It's an unbelievable team. Natalie and staff that helped put this together, our associates in Oak Brook, please stand up and be recognized. And a lot of Lion volunteers go into this. Sue Jenna from the Tribeca Campus Club, Lions Club, and 20R2. They're the Lions, not Leos, they're Lions. They were out at registration yesterday, helped us here today. Just phenomenal. If you're here, you're probably getting ready for us to leave, so you're probably not here right now. All the other Lion volunteers that helped during this and to help make this day a huge success. A couple of other things I'd like to make right now, comments I'd like to make. I'd also like to thank our international president, Bob Corlew, for being here with us today. Under some little bit difficult circumstances he got here with us today, but he's done a tremendous job. Thank you for all that you do on behalf of Lions and Leos. And, when I speak about volunteers also, it's also a solemn moment for me right now. We have a dear friend, many of us knew very well, past District Governor Harry Katz, who was Lion for over 45 years. He was here for about 20 years. He's an ambassador of goodwill, but he coordinated all the volunteers here for about 20 years. And one thing, if you were sitting up here or any place in the building and you're looking at the back of the room there and you saw a big commotion out there, you didn't know if Harry Katz was coming in here or the Secretary General. He made his presence known, and his presence is known here today, and we just want to remember the good things that Lion Harry Katz has done for us today. President Bob, the microphone's yours.
Thank you so much, President Al. I do want to thank you for presiding over this event, and I want you to know how much all of us appreciate your arranging this entire event. Fellow Lions, this, as we have mentioned before, this is the largest UN Day we've ever had. This is the first time we're in this GA Hall, the first time we've been televised, And I'll tell you, there were some leaps of faith along the way that we had to take, and I want to thank Al for hanging in there and for bringing the leadership and for doing so much for bringing this along. We Al, I know you've worked very closely with the staff at Lions International, and I want to give my thanks to Natalie and her staff. To be very fair, when this proposal was first made for an event this size, it was suggested to me that we needed a staff much larger than we have working on this event. And I'll go ahead and take the blow. I said we can do it with much less staff. And we have, and they have just done an outstanding job, and I thank them so much for the super work, because this has certainly been a great event. Thank you again. Al, I want to add my own appreciation also for the missions of Iceland, India, Korea, and the United States. Particularly, we are particularly grateful to them. And a special thanks to our friend Vardi Thorsen, First Secretary of the Permanent Mission of Iceland to the United Nations. Thank you again. Al, there's some others who work with us. Our 2016-2017 appointed Lions representatives to the United Nations and UN agencies and other organizations. Some of them are with us today. Many, frankly, are not, because they work in other parts of the world. But in addition to past President Al, who, of course, serves in a number of capacities, not only as our chair for this event, but as UN Economic and Social Council representative, UN Department of Public Relations, Public Information representative, United Nations Development Program representative, and Lions Day at the UN representative. Wow, what a lot of hats, Al. Past International Director Philippe Gerendal from Belgium is our UN representative in Vienna. Past International Director Howard Lee, our UN representative in Geneva, and I think Howard is here. Howard, would you stand so we can recognize you? Past District Governor Anthony Paradiso, UN NGO Committee on Narcotics and Substance Abuse, and United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime representative. He's here, Andy. He's here. Past International Director Dr. Stephen Tremoroli is our UN Children's Fund representative, better known as UNICEF. Steve, thank you. Past District Governor Madalil Dodia, who is the UN Children's Fund representative and Environmental Program representative in Nairobi. Past International Director Domenico Messina, the WHO, World Health Organization representative in Geneva. Past International Director Philippe Sustal, who is the UN Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO, representative in Paris. Past International Director Bob Klein, United Nations Association of the United States of America, here in New York. Bob's here. Past International Director Massimo Fabio, the Food and Agriculture Organization representative in Rome. The past International Director Manfred Westhoff, the Council of Europe representative in Strasbourg, Germany. Past International Director Claudette Cornet, UN Women Coordinator for the European Union in Brussels. And past Council Chair Angelo Persigliotti. I said that wrong. How do I do that? Persigliotti. Thank you. Angelo's our UN Women representative here in the United States, and I apologize. I never can say the last name correctly. I apologize. And I know he can't pronounce Corlu either. It's okay. Past International Director Siki Yamara from Japan, and he is our UNESCO representative in Japan. Our thanks to all of the United Nations representatives and all of the United Nations personnel for being here today and for having us here. We also want to say a special thanks to Dr. Tim Shriver and all of the people here and with Special Olympics. We want to appreciate their active participation, not only here today, but for our partnership through the years and what we hope, what we know will continue in the future as well. I want to thank all of our speakers and our panelists for being here and for carrying on these conversations back in your hometowns as well. Lionel, it's yours, sir.
Well, now for the last part of our day.
I'm not sure I said that.
Oh, you can say that if you like.
You said that. You say that?
Okay. Well, we said in our opening comments that there were over 800 people registered here today. The final numbers are in. 850 people are registered and here for Lions Day at the UN. Thank you. You've set a record, and we're always looking to improve. So again, we look forward to your comments. Now, with that amount of people, the first time we've ever been challenged with this, that unfortunately the delegates' dining room upstairs only serves about 400 and 450 people for lunch. So as you know, we've had to do something different. This has all been different today, but we had to do something different to help feed you. So as you know, that there are going to be two separate groups of people, and I'm going to give you those instructions in a minute. Some of you will be going to the delegates' dining room. The others will be going to the Hyatt Hotel, and we have buses outside for you that you're going to be leaving first. Now, the president and myself get the best of both deals. We're going to have a meal at both places. So, we'll be here first, then we'll be coming over. Our officers will be split, so you'll have an opportunity to dine with the officers at either place. Our UN representatives are going to be split also. So we're introduced to some of them today. They're prepared to answer questions if you have anything at lunch. So it's just not a feeding time. It's also a time if you have additional questions or comments, please see the officers, our staff members, and our UN representatives. So now as a reminder, now these are the instructions. Don't get it wrong, because if you go someplace else, you're going to have a problem. As a reminder, those of you with a red dot, who's got red dots? Okay, good. You don't get anything. No, just kidding. Red dots. You're on your name badge. You'll head to the Grand Hyatt, New York, to dine at the Manhattan Ballroom, a beautiful historic ballroom. You'll be leaving first. Those remaining stay here and dine at the delegates' dining room. We ask that those heading to the Grand Hyatt to exit first. Our staff and volunteers will lead you out to the buses. For those of you who are able or would like to walk, we will ask you to meet at the Grand Hyatt. Those dining here at the delegates' dining room, you will leave this room last and will be led by staff going to the Grand Hyatt. Our UN representatives will be at both locations for you. We hope that you enjoyed this day today. We hope that you enjoyed the General Assembly Hall. And God willing, we'll see you next year at Lions Day at the United Nations 2018. Safe home and God bless.
Sir, I think this is great.
Exit the same way you came in, please. Exit the same way you came in, please.